Hello, hi. How are you? How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Motivation with Me, the podcast. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I might clear my throat a little bit. Okay, I might let me clear my throat. Yeah, cause it ain't, it ain't giving what I needed to give on a topic that this one might make a few people mad. But in the words of my good sis Natalie Love, a hit dog will holler. So, today we are going to talk about toxic relationships, sex, and celibacy. Yes, I said sex. So, I'm going to give you a little warning. It may be a few cuss words in there, but not too many. And we are talking about sex. So, saints, if you can't listen to somebody talking about sex, I suggest this one ain't for you. But it is a good message, especially the part on toxic relationships. So, show of hands, how many of you guys have been in a toxic relationship or you're currently in a toxic relationship and you can admit that you're in a toxic relationship? Because that's the issue. A lot of the times we won't admit that we're in a toxic relationship and we won't leave the toxic relationships for whatever the reason may be. Let me be the first to tell you and give you a testimony, baby. My last relationship was toxic. It was toxic. It wasn't even toxic, it was toxic with a X on the end. And it brought me so far out of my character, it made no sense. Now I have yet to have a successful relationship, but the Lord's still working. He's still working, okay? I'm not gonna lose my faith. It's gonna happen one day. But a toxic relationship literally can break you. And you are the one who has to decide if you're gonna stay in it or if you're gonna leave. And I want you to really evaluate. Now, we're talking about love relationships. We spoke a little bit about toxic relationships when it comes to family and friends and getting rid of people who are not good for you and doing inventory on people in your life. We talked about that. So, we're going to talk about toxic love relationships and toxic ties, which I did a YouTube video a long time ago on this topic. I want to say it was about 2 years ago when I first started. And me and my cousin did one on toxic ties. That was actually a really good video. But we sometimes don't realize that we're in toxic relationships or that someone has a toxic tie and hold on us. And there are multiple reasons why we stay. Whether love is one. And I always say love is like a coin toss. Heads can be love, beautiful, amazing, butterflies, almost perfect, happiness, but tails will be pain, heartbreak, cheating, narcissism. It could be either one. So do you want heads or tails? Because I want heads. Okay, I want heads. I don't want tails. I didn't have enough tails. The irony that we're talking about sex and I'm talking about heads and tails. Lord have mercy. Jesus fix it. He's still working on me. But if you evaluate your relationship and you realize that you're more sad and upset than happy, then you need to reevaluate. Now, some things can be worked out. Some things can be talked about and talked through, and that's the problem. We don't have communication in relationships these days, especially men. I love y'all, but y'all are horrible with communicating y'all feelings and emotions. Lord, help it. Help it. Now, let me also put the disclaimer out there that this podcast, this episode is not just for women. This is for men too, because there are some toxic women out there. Listen here. So that toxic man or that toxic woman that you messing with, baby, let that go. Get rid of them. Throw them away. throw them. It took me over a year to realize what was going on, and I was taken out of my character. I became somebody I didn't recognize. So if someone is taking you out of your character to the point where you don't even recognize yourself, that is what's called a toxic tie. That is a toxic relationship, and you need to remove yourself from that relationship. Now, I know it's easier said than done. It's going to take time. I'm not telling you you got to do it tomorrow, but I'm telling you, you need to evaluate and you need to figure out what you want, what you need, and are you going to stay in this toxic relationship or are you going to let go, focus on yourself? Because that's another thing that we do. We get out of one relationship and we hop right back into another one. So, are you going to stay in this relationship and continue to deal with the pain or are you going to walk away? And I always say, and excuse my language because I'm about to cuss, I always say everybody got a fucking point. Everybody has a fucking point where they get to a point in their relationship where they like, you know what? Fuck it. I say that all the time. Everybody has that point where they, oh, let me clear my throat. Everybody gets to everybody gets to that point in their relationship where they like, you know what, I can't do this no more. This ain't working out. Mm-mm. No, Lord. No, Lord. I got to go. I got to go. I gotta leave. Quick. I gotta run. Like I'm running from the cops. I got to go. Everybody has that point. At some point, you realize that you need to put yourself before the relationship and before the person that you're in the relationship with. Because everybody deserves pure and natural love, the love that God intended for you. Everybody deserves that. Everybody should have that. So if the person that you are with, whether it's male or female, if you feel like that that's not the person that God wants you with, then again, you need to reevaluate. You need to find out and dig deep, whether you meditate, pray, whatever your method is, and you need to get out of that relationship because that relationship is going to tear you apart. And I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know from all the relationships that I've been in, they was all toxic. And I didn't leave as fast as I should have. I didn't walk away as soon as I should have. I let it go on way too long to the point where it was borderline violence involved. And I don't do violence. So no, Lord, it's time for me to go. When I don't recognize myself no more and I'm turning into a completely different person, it's time to go. Never let anybody have that much power over you. Nobody should have that much power over you. So that is my little spiel on toxic relationships and toxic ties. And so we're gonna take a short break and then we're gonna get into sex and celibacy. Okay, so y'all know I like to shout out a good black business, huh? I like to shout out a good black business, baby. In today's black business, since we are talking about celibacy, is going to be Victorian Publishing. CEO is me. I am she. Okay. I started Victorian Publishing in 2020 officially. I came out with my first book back in 2015. So I have Troubled, which is my first book. I have Renewed Strength, which is my second book, which actually talks about love, sex, and relationships. Now, my first book is my life story, which is, whoo, child. And then I have my third book called One Flesh, which is actually a celibacy workbook. It's extremely funny and it's not just for celibate people. I have got to stress that. So, Victorian Publishing was started and it was named after my grandmother, Mildred Victorian Suit, God rest her soul. When I came out with Trouble Baby, she was slanging them books like bootleg CDs. If you walked into her house, you had to buy Trouble. You didn't have a choice. You gonna buy it. So to honor her memory and continue her legacy, I started Victorian Publishing. I started as an editor and then eventually I created a publishing company. And just a little side note, book 4 is coming and it's going to be the follow up to Troubled. So it's going to be my life story from 22 to 30. So the first one was 11 to 21, age 11 to age 21. So this one is going to be age 22 to now, pretty much, or well, 29, I should say. So that one is coming soon. So be prepared. But you can buy all of these books on victorianpublishing.com. I will put the information in the description. And shout out to me, but most importantly, shout out to my grandmother for giving me the inspiration to tap into my gift of writing and my gift of storytelling and giving me the courage to actually tell my story and helping me push it. Because, baby, let me tell you how much I hate marketing. I wish she was still here, because if she was still here, I'd have more book sales than I don't best-selling, or I'd probably be on Michelle Obama status, okay? That's how my grandma was doing it. I had to keep buying boxes and boxes of books because she kept selling them. And so, I love her, and again, God rest her soul. And I want to thank her for giving me that idea and for continuing that legacy. So shout out victorianpublishing.com, and make sure you follow us on Instagram at Victorian Publishing. Okay, so we are back and we're going to talk about sex. So while we're talking about relationships, we're going to talk about sex. And baby, let me tell you, sex is a beautiful thing. Sex is a beautiful thing, and that's coming from a celibate person. But baby, before I was celibate, let me tell you, I used to be a hoe. I put the O in hoe. I came from a very promiscuous lifestyle. Again, if you read Troubled, baby, listen here. Okay, I was out in them streets, honey. I was doing, ooh, Lord, I was a whoremonger. So trust me, I know all about sex, but I also know all about celibacy. So sex is one of the reasons why we stay in toxic relationships. So if you've ever heard, well, obviously you've heard if you have age, I hope, but you've heard, girl, that you know, I ain't gonna say it, but that thing is so good and I can't leave and I'm just, oh my God, he put it on me, or it could be the other way around. Ooh, dog, let me tell you, bro. That thing be popping, man. I can't even she got a hold on me, pimp. Like, Carol, what kind of nigga voice? But that is one of the reasons we actually stay in toxic relationships, whether we realize it or not. But we have to realize that anybody you have sex with, you have allowed that person into your body. Whether it was a one night stand, jump off, girlfriend, whatever, you have let that person into your body. And once you let that person into your body, that makes you one. Okay, there's physical intimacy and there's mental intimacy. Once you allow that person to have sex with you, you have let them enter your body and even your soul, because there's a thing called soul ties too. So you have to keep that in mind. All right. For one, I want you to protect yourself. But for two, baby, be careful who you out there having sex with. I'm gonna say that again. Baby, be careful who you out there having sex with. Who are you giving yourself to? Now listen here, like I said, boy, sex is a beautiful thing, ain't it? Mm, mm, mm. Trust me, I know. If don't nobody else know, I know. I done did it enough. For all the people that's listening, I done probably did it enough. But I'm not ashamed. I am not ashamed. I say it all the time. But I'm a reformed hoe because the Lord, He put His hands on me and made me celibate. So sex will make you stay in a toxic relationship. It be good. It be good and you can't leave, but you got to put that to the side, because physical intimacy can be really, really good. But if that mental intimacy not there, if that spiritual intimacy is not there, if y'all are not connecting, and the only time you feel good in a relationship is when you're having sex, then baby, you got a problem. Houston, we have a problem, because sex makes you one. It is a soul tie. Okay, I'm not telling you to become celibate tomorrow. I'm not telling you to be like me. I'm not even telling you to not have sex at all. What I'm telling you is be careful who you give yourself to. Be careful who you have sex with, and make sure you're always protecting yourself. Okay? I'm surprised I ain't got a million babies as much as I was out there. But I've been celibate for 8 years, and I get so many people who ask me questions about celibacy. That could be a podcast in itself, but so many people who are becoming celibate, trying celibacy, was celibate and then slipped up. It's been 8 long years for me. My lord. I made 8 years February 8th of 2023. I became celibate February 8th of 2015. Baby, let me tell you, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. But I always say the crazy part is the hardest part about being celibate is not having sex. That's light work. It wasn't at first. Don't get me wrong. Them first couple years, I was struggling. But when you 8 years in the game, it's like you get used to it. And that's not the hard part. The hard part is finding somebody who's going to accept that. Now, as toxic as my last relationship was, I will say my ex was very understanding. He was willing to take that vow with me. And, we were in a relationship for over a year and we didn't have sex. Like he took my celibacy seriously. Like even if I was to try, I didn't, but even if I was to try, he would be like, no, you took a vow. And I appreciate that about him because it's very rare that you find somebody who can accept that. I want to say I've met probably three, wait, one, two, yeah, about three men in the past 8 years who can actually deal with my celibacy and do celibacy and be on that journey with me. And it's a hard journey. It is a very hard journey. It's not for the weak. It's not for the faint of heart. Now, I'm not telling you again to go out there and be celibate because I don't want men and women mad at me. She telling them not to have sex and don't be putting that in my girlfriend head. Like, that ain't what I'm saying. Everybody ain't got to be celibate. I'm telling you about me. But again, that goes with watching who you give yourself to. And another thing, there is a difference between celibacy and abstinence. Okay. Abstinence is temporary, it's not a vow. So with celibacy, I took a vow. So I am not allowed to have sex until I get married. Abstinence is when you take a break from sex. Like you may not be having sex at the moment, or you decide, you know what, I'm gonna fast or I'm not gonna have sex for 6 months. And that I do recommend everybody do. Like I do recommend whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily, go a little while. If you got to do 30 days, and I know most people like, ooh, 30 days. Oh, I can't even go 2 days and you want me to go 30 days? I know. Don't be mad at me. I know. I actually knew somebody who literally could not go 3 hours, let alone 30 days, without some form of sexual activity. Okay, whether it was masturbation, whether it was oral sex, regular sex, I ain't gonna get into the details, but trust me, I've heard all the stories. The amount of stories that I've heard is ridiculous. But fasting from sex and being abstinent is something that I think everybody should try. And however long you do it is how long you do it. But I mean, at least give it a week. But you'll see, like when I first became celibate, when I tell y'all it opened my eyes to so much. It's like even the grass was greener, the trees was blowing, the sky was blue, because it's just a long fast. It's a really, really long fast. That's how I describe it. So at least try it. Try it voluntarily because we can easily involuntarily not have sex just because we don't have anybody to have sex at the moment. Or we may be taking a break, or, oh, girl, I ain't had sex in like 2 years. And that could be simply because you haven't found anybody. And you don't want to just give yourself to anybody, to just anybody. You don't want to be the old me. You don't, you don't want to choose the whole path. And that's good. You shouldn't. I did it. It ain't a good path. But anyway, so that is my quick spiel on that. If you want me to dig deeper into sex and celibacy, because again, celibacy is a big topic. I have a blog on it, I have vlogs on it. I had literally to this day, I started the Single Saved and Celibate series back in like 2018, and I still get emails, comments on my blogs. I still get so many questions about people who ask me about celibacy, people who need support. Like I have celibate sisters, of all kind of stuff. So if you have more questions on it, then let me know and I will dive deeper into those questions. You can email me the questions. You can put them in I always do like a Q&A. So you can drop the question in the Q&A. My information is always in the description of the podcast. You can DM me on Instagram at Elements of Me, all of that. And if you want to read the blog, it is on mirandaevans.com. So it's still there. And the vlogs are on my YouTube channel under the Single Saved and Celibate Series playlist. And that's Elements of Me Motivation. So that's that. Remove yourself from a toxic relationship. Get out of there, sis. Get out of there, bruh. Like I said, whether you male or female, get out of there. Run, Forrest, run. And do not allow sex to be the reason you stay, because that is going to tear you apart. And that is not what I want for you. That is not what I want for you. I want you to be happy. I want you to have true love. I don't even know you, but I'm telling you what I want for you. So until the next episode, I will see ya. Girl, you have got to let the YouTube thing go. I will talk to y'all in the next episode. Happy Wisdom Wednesday.